Hi, and welcome to this week's podcast episode. Today I'm going to reflect on the NFT hype. I'm recording directly from Catania, so you might hear some noise in the background because I'm recording mobile. So this episode might not have the quality you're used to. So everybody should know at the moment what the NFT is. And in early 2021, the NFT hype really took off with people's artwork every day selling for around $69 million, and it drove major attention to NFTs. And since then, millions of NFTs have been sold, marketplace volumes have been in the billions, and a new form of companies has emerged. And looking at the users' volume and numbers of transactions on OpenSea, for example, it seems like the hype has peaked in January this year, and since then it is declining. Some say that the NFT bubble bursted in May 2022. So it is now, I think, the time to reflect on the last month and also to reflect on my own investments and my thoughts for the future. So as listeners to this podcast, I assume you know what NFTs, non-fungible tokens, are. So they are a record on the blockchain, and they typically reference to some sort of digital file like an artwork, music, or other things. And this might also be a misconception because NFTs are not automatically art. But the focus on today's episode are NFTs who are collectibles like artworks, and those who got the most attention in the last 12 months, like classic NFTs like the Bored Ape Yacht Club, Doodles, World of Women, and all these collections. So I thought NFT collections could definitely function as a company. For example, if you first launch a collection, with the money you raise, you can invest in something. For example, a game you want to build or another purpose. So you basically get funding and you can use it as, for example, in a Kickstarter campaign, like a nice crowdfunding campaign. And I think here is essential how the roadmap of a project looks like. So for those who are not familiar with all this stuff, normally the NFT collection has a roadmap where they have different goals which they want to reach at a certain date. For example, when they want to have built the game and when they want to launch, for example, their merch and all this stuff. And I also thought it might be a new way, a cool way, a technological way of crowdfunding. And then you often get like trading fees from your collection. For example, if you list your NFT, you could add like a percentage fee from the trading. For example, you can add like a 2.5% trading fee, and then you get like also cash flow when the project is going on. And I think cash flow is key for a business, of course, because you have to sustain your management, and also people have to keep working on the project. And I also thought with the massive communities on the Discord servers who might want to buy merch or can be involved in other ways, there is also a possibility to capitalize on this project. So I also thought in the end it's not too far away from classic pop culture collectibles, like, for example, the Panini football stickers or NFL collecting cards, NBA collecting cards, or all this stuff. And I thought the major difference here is that you have these profits you can take from every transaction also in the future, which might enable you to work like for a long time on a project. And I thought, can this work? And for some projects, 100%. The most famous one is probably Bored Ape Yacht Club. They started like as a club, like a membership club, but the founders kept working on the project. They kept going and celebrities started buying and coming to the Discord. Now they have like a festival, they have merch, they are now building the metaverse or a gaming metaverse, which I think is very interesting. And for example, in March 2022, they raised $450 million, valuating the company at $4 billion totally. And another project which recently got funding is Doodles. They, for example, announced a 4 million funding round led by 776, which is a venture capital company. And this they used the project at $704 million. And now they have the goal to become a Web3 entertainment company. And this means, for example, going into areas such as music, animation, consumer products, gaming, intellectual property partnerships, and events and activities or attractions. These informations I have from a slide which they posted, I think, on Twitter. And yeah, there are some extremely successful projects with a strong community, which is something which I think should not be underrated. For example, also Kim Kardashian or in generally the Kardashian clan, they have like a massive power for consumers. And they made like major deals with, for example, Coty or other companies. But I also think with these NFT projects, here's a survivorship bias. And a survivorship bias basically means that the percentage of success is systematically overvalued because successful persons or conditions are more visible than those who are not. And basically, this just means you only see the projects which are successful, and probably the 99.9% of projects who are not successful, they are not covered by the media. And I want to talk exactly about these projects because I think we have a survivorship bias with NFT projects, which is why I want to reflect on my investments and share information here. So one project which I was probably the most involved in is called WeCards. And on the website, they say like WeCards is an NFT collection where social changes are made of the people, by the people, and for the people. So it's basically a project with 10,000 NFTs of people in wheelchairs. And if you have financial difficulties, for example, they also would give you like a free rollie. Rollie they call like the NFTs of people in a wheelchair. And it's also made by someone who is sitting in a wheelchair. And I thought it was like a cool idea because they said they want to make like Web3 inclusive. And they had like nice campaigns where, for example, the first 100 people, I think, who added like accessible information on Google Maps, for example, for wheelchairs or other people who have disabilities about certain places, get like a free wheelchair NFT. And they had big plans with cultural activities, a DAO, a video game, and much more. And also their parent company, Door Labs, had strong collaborations, names on the website, like that they participated in the NASDAQ Entrepreneurial Center. And yeah, so basically they enabled a scholarship for disabled people in Vietnam, which I think is great. And I also had like video calls with the founders. I personally wanted to get involved. I wanted to get, or I was like more or less, I was like a community manager for the Discord, but nothing really happened since month. So I haven't heard from the team much. They are saying they are working on the project, but no real news are here. I don't know, maybe I'm too skeptical, but I think this is something I see in a lot of projects. There are a lot of good and also promising projects which just fail to execute because maybe they don't get a lot of traction. And maybe they sell out, but there's no real trading going on. And now with the markets crashing, nothing or not much is happening. Yeah, and so here, no investment advice, no financial advice. Everything I'm saying here is no financial advice. But yeah, personally, I think there will not be happening too much in the future. But of course, I also could be proven wrong, and I would hope that I get proven wrong. Another NFT project I thought was very promising is The Other Side. It was like not like Other Side, like the metaverse from Bored Ape Yacht Club, but called The Other Side, TOS. And I liked the artwork, and they also had like cool ideas. I liked the Discord channel. They had like nice people in the community there, but there was a misuse in the community funds by some of the internal people on the project. So then they got like an external auditor, and I think in this case it is great that the blockchain tracks everything, right? So they could also, or they found out that people of their own team misused the funds, but now the trust is lost, and they try to restore it, but I don't know if it will be possible. And I think the problem with NFT projects is that there are often no consequences. So retail investors can hardly protect themselves, and legal processes around the globe would often make for an individual no sense. For example, if I want to press charges now, and I might be able to do so because I get like a legal insurance, it would be incredibly hard for me because you don't have the legislative framework in a lot of countries. And then, for example, suing somebody in Asia as an individual investor, it just doesn't make sense, because I also have to think, okay, how much money have I put into the project, and how much money would I invest to press charges? And in these cases, I think a lot of traditional companies are not so bad, because they are operating like in a legal framework. And in most cases, if we are in the Wild West, it's not the people who are winning, right? It's not the retail investors who are winning. Yeah. So another NFT collection, maybe a better one, is The Greats by Beltraki. He's like a famous artist. And for me, it's just, I bought it for the art. It is not like other classical NFT projects with a strong community. I just like the art. I do not know how it plays out in the future. And there were also other projects I was interested in. And basically, I think they can be summarized with that people run with the funds, or they just fail to deliver and nothing happened after a while. I also talked with people also in the space, and they made like similar experiences. And maybe not with the top blue chip projects, but in my peer group in the moment, there are at least not many people who invested like in a Bored Ape Yacht Club, or in projects which are worth maybe like hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I would say probably most of them, from an investment perspective, lost money. And finally, I want to ask the question, what is the value creation of NFTs? So art NFT collections, in my opinion, often do not have a utility besides being a pure collectible, unless the project gives them one. And in this case, they could be compared with art. And here you could ask yourself, is art a scam? And I think this question should be asked, especially with a lot of modern art, with a lot of art which can be mass produced. And I think in a lot of these cases, and also talking or hearing, they are making fun of the investors, for example, and also making fun of the critics. So with the statement that NFT collections do not have a utility besides being a pure collectible unless the project gives them one, I mean that minting the project is just not enough. So, but with a dedicated team, there are possibilities like using the NFT as a membership card, for example, for conferences, or tickets for an NFT holder Discord, for example, or building an environment around the NFT, like a game or a metaverse, where you can use your character and play them in-game, or airdropping tokens or other art to the people, or building a DAO, which is committed to a higher goal like climate change. For example, to have like a governance token. But in the end, I think two things. Value creation can be through entertainment in these cases, like video games and movies. And for example, if I now look at the Bored Ape Yacht Club, I think it can be compared with a video game. On the other hand, I think one question still remains. Does it always have to be blockchain based? If I look at some browser games I played when I was a teenager, there were also swords in the game or characters you could play, and they basically never got lost. And if they are not transferred into another game, I think you really have to ask the question, does it have to be blockchain based? Maybe I'm a little bit too skeptical on NFTs at the moment because of my own experience. But let me know what you think about it and join the Discord channel. Have a nice day, and I hope to see you soon.